Welcome to Red Viking Hobbies. Today we're going to be talking about the Ryft and in particular about binding the vehicle. I've seen a lot of people that are tearing the vehicle from the top down to actually do the bind, and that's not required. And so in this video I'm going to show you an easier way to do this. So the first part of the process is going to be to take these tires off. These wheels come off with an 8mm on the Axial Ryft. Alright, so after your wheels and tires are off, you're going to flip it over and it's going to automatically brake on you. Look at that. You see that? Sheesh. Well, actually you can see in the next video how it actually broke. But that's no matter. It actually broke when it was doing what it was supposed to be doing, and so I was pretty excited about getting to run it with the new suspension setup, and I'll talk about that in the other video. But in today's video about the binding, it's going to be an 11 screw method that you're going to need to use, and you can do it right from the bottom by flipping it over. There's no reason to remove the cage, and I'm going to show you that now.
All right, so when we get into this, I'm just going to take this thing down off of here. And I'm going to start taking out my screws. The first screw is in the top back. It's a single screw. I call it the 11th screw because when I first did this, I couldn't figure out what was going on, what was keeping this thing from coming out, and it was this one guy right here.
Now at this point, you want to have your car facing up, and that has to do with the fact that the Smart ESC transmitter system and the sophistication that's involved in it for the traction control type system that it has is very sensitive. So you can't do it upside down. You can't be moving the car around for a bind or anything like that. You literally have to have the thing sitting without it being touched to perform the operation, to do the bind properly. So at this point, what I've done is I've made it so that the bind button, I have access to it from the top right here, and I hope I showed that photo okay in that other camera, and so that way you're going to be able to get your bind started. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to bind the car. Okay, so we can do this nice and clean, and I can show you. This is why I normally do this stuff in the garage. In any case, but it's late at night. It's cold out there. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the car. All right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to power on the car, okay? And that's the normal sounds that your car usually makes, or some sort of sound. But I want to reset it to factory settings when I do my bind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the mode button that's in the back above the power button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to release that button, okay? And then you'll see some blinking happening on the top of your ESC, all right? Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit my bind button on the car, and then it's going to flash orange. I hope we get orange in there in the shot somewhere. I hope so. All right. Then I'm going to hold down the bind button, turn the power on the car, let go. Goes into bind mode, right? Look, wants to bind. Full pull, release, full push, release, turn to the right, release, turn to the left, release, turn the car off. Okay? For all intents and purposes, you should be bound. I'm turning them both off so we can see if this process actually worked. Remember, car off the ground, tires off the car, so you can get the full articulation on your steering, and try not to touch anything because of the way the electronics are in this Spectrum system. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our controller on first. We're going to listen to our refrigerator over there. Can you hear that beeping? I keep mentioning that. Then we're going to turn our car on, and we're going to wait 5 seconds. And during that 5 seconds, everything should be syncing up. Boom. Those lights hit. That's about your 5-second mark. We have our steering, and we should have our throttle and our reverse. Now, why does mine sound, oh, so darn awful? Well, the reason is, I'm going to power her down. All right, good. I mentioned it briefly in the beginning of the video. The other video that you can see that has nothing to do with binding whatsoever, and by the way, it's a reverse process just to put it back together. So what you want to do is you want to take your transmitter here and just hold it and go ahead and flip your vehicle over. And when you're doing that, I should mention this. Actually, I should have mentioned this. When you're doing that, you don't want to tug on those cables, and you're just going to want to turn it over like that so that you can go ahead and you can reinstall the cover back on top. Don't forget to close. There's a little door on there, a little door on there over your bind button. Go ahead and close that door, and then after you close the door, was that bothering people? That was bothering me. After you close that door, go ahead and reinstall this piece and then slide everything back in. Don't forget that middle screw, the 11th screw, like I've called it before. So yeah, basically what wound up happening was something great. Actually, it was normal breakage. After I swapped out the shocks on this thing, so I had 2 issues that were happening real quick, and I'll try to get through this real quick. So I had 2 issues that were happening, 3. One, my refrigerator would not shut up and stop beeping. But the issues were that it was spinning tires off like crazy. And so what you didn't get to see is I literally had to go to the garage and I had to go out and get myself a real wrench to take my tires off, because the hubs on these things are actually spinning out the inside of the tires. Let me back that up a little bit like that. They're spinning them out. So I'm going to swap this over to beadlock. But before I did that, I broke both shocks in the front for the factory shocks. So I decided to go with these internal spring shocks from Mountain, only because these were the ones I could get fastest. So I did these, obviously 1 in the front, 2 in the rear on each side. And to do that, you have to remove the piece that would hold in the sway bar. So I will do the setup with the sway bar. You can do that with the low-C front and rear sway bar links for the Baja Ray right there, and then there's just an adapter that you need, and I'll give a link in my next video to where you can get that adapter so that you can go ahead and put that sway bar on there, but there are other companies that are making it. In any case, it ran so well this way, I was able to take it out several times, and the last time, you're going to see in the footage that's coming up, I was in the water and I was all over the place, and then I went a little further than I thought I could. I was able to see, and there was this rock, and I slammed into it, and of course I broke this shaft right here, and then the drive shaft itself, the center of the drive shaft, fell out. As soon as it had the room to do so, it just fell out, and I didn't notice. I didn't know what was going on. I went over, picked it up, and said, that's broken. At first I thought it was a differential because of the way it was grinding, but then after closer inspection, that's what it was. Parts are already ordered. She's going to be back and up and running as soon as I get those from Hobbytown on Palmer Lane in Austin. That's it for me for now. I am going to take the refrigerator outside and beat the hell out of it. Heck, kids, heck. I'm going to beat the heck out of it. Because, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do anything to my refrigerator. I wouldn't do that. Red Viking Hobbies likes when you come and watch our videos. My videos. And the Axial Ryft is a very, very cool car, but on their website, it says, for Axial, it says beginner to intermediate. I beg to differ. I disagree. I actually think that this is more in the advanced because of the issues that I've already run into. With it spinning off tires that don't seem to fit on the hex properly, and for the amount of torque twist that the thing has, that it requires a sway bar that is not available yet, and other issues like coming unbound all the time. And then the problem with people having to tear down the whole car to get the thing to rebind, and then finding out 2-3 times later that it came unbound again. And so, you know, as far as Axial goes with the Ryft goes, we need a little bit of work on this thing, and we're figuring these things out. But I'm not bashing on Axial. I just wanted to prove my point over here, so I just grabbed a few of the Axial products that I have. One of my next videos coming up is going to be on the SCX24 models, these deadbolts, and then the Jeeps, and our C10s, and of course we have a Betty in the back over here. I got a Capra over here. Oh, no, not a Capra, excuse me. Yeti over here, Capra over here. Love them, absolutely love them, adore them, especially these little SCX24s and the Capra. But the Axial Ryft, man, it's really putting me through my paces, but I'm enjoying every second of it. I hope you enjoy that part of the hobby too. Again, Red Viking Hobbies, please like, please subscribe, and stay well. So I've heard a rumor that new YouTubers shouldn't be talking about stuff that isn't involved with their hobby, okay? Well, this refrigerator, it got involved with my hobby tonight. All I wanted to do was a nice little video for you, but no, this guy. 7 times they've been out to fix this thing, 7 times. And this door says that it is not closed, and it is most certainly closed. And now that it's out of warranty, what am I going to do? I'll buy a new refrigerator after 4 years? Just killing me. You heard the beeping sound. And of course now I'm standing here and I want it to beep so that I could prove how annoying it is. There's no beeping going on. I was for certain I was going to come over here and I could talk long enough that we get that beeping sound. Nope,